We are rocking with you live on Dash Radio. I'm DJ SKEE. Elliott Wilson back in the building.
Yeah.
So what are we going to
SKEE,
talk about?
how you doing, sir?
I'm great. What are we going to talk about this
time?
time?
Talk about this sneaky move you made, man. Dash Radio, baby. Talk to me.
Wait, hold on.
Where's the contract? I want to be down. What's going on,
Dude, you're down.
man?
I just told you. You are welcome.
SKEE, as DJ Cal would say, you smart. You smart, SKEE. You hinted at last time I was with you. You hinted at some big power move. I wasn't buying all this quitting on the radio and all this making infomercials about how you're quitting and if you radio's lost its soul. You was up to a new business venture. That's what you do, SKEE. Congratulations, man. Dash Radio, man. Congratulations,
man. Thank you for
brother.
coming down and being one of our first guests and stuff. So what brings you to L.A.? First off, again, you got a big event tomorrow.
Yes, I'm finally bringing my series, the Crown Series, to L.A., man.
I know, it's been a while.
DJ Mustard's
long awaited.
It's going to be Tuesday, man, at the Hollywood, Linwood Dunn Theater in Hollywood.
That's going to be awesome.
Me and DJ Mustard, he's the hottest producer in the game. Like,
just took over the world over the past couple years.
I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be more like a fun, like a fun vibe to it.
Yeah,
like not
man.
that like long sit down, I want to ask about his jewelry. Like, he's ridiculous. You know what I mean? You know Mustard. Mustard's like, he's living it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I want to have fun with it. So
you've got to ask him about what made him do. Still, it's the best mixtape cover ever for Ketchup.
Yeah.
Him standing on the car with hundreds of dollars in bills in the red leather.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't even a man then. He wasn't even a man yet. Look at that.
I'm scared, right?
Right? Now, what's going to happen now?
The album cover king. Shout out to Mustard. Shout out to Mustard for doing that.
Man.
What made you decide to come to L.A.? Because it's been such like a New York institution. I know it's something that you've wanted to
I mean, I wanted to do
stuff.
it. It just hasn't been set up right. The first guy I did was Kendrick, but that was during South by Southwest. So, with the whole TDE thing, I was trying to get somebody, and I was trying to do Schoolboy Q out here, but it just didn't work out with the timing. So we ended up doing New York, and that was a real bummer. So a lot of Cali folks was hitting me like, "How you gonna do Schoolboy Q in New York? Come on, Elliott."
They get mad.
Yeah, they got mad. So I'm just glad that, to have the right person. It's actually I think it's, he put the album out through Google Play, so it had an early release, but the actual release date is tomorrow, August 26th. And to have him in Los Angeles, in his hometown, like, I think he deserves that. Even like I told you, like the last one I did with Future, like, I think the great thing about doing an artist in their hometown is that you really give them their due in front of people that really have seen their growth, like you said, from the Ketchup cover to 10 Summers. And it's great to do that and really put their career in perspective in a fun way. And they don't get that opportunity. They do a lot of press, and they don't get those opportunities. So I think that's what makes Crown unique, and that's why I'm very excited to finally bring it to California.
Now, you've been in the game for a second, so Mustard, we're going to talk about him for a second.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homie. So 10 Summers, he wants to be here 10 Summers. What does he need to do to stay relevant? Because it's tough being a producer. Even Pharrell didn't get 10 Summers. I mean, he came around, then kind of dipped down, then came back, then dipped down, way down. Now he's the hottest thing in the world, but how do you stay relevant? What would be your advice?
He's got to keep evolving.
Around?
I mean, he's going to get to that point where he's the criticism he starts to get is, well, your stuff sounds similar. That's what everyone says. Like, obviously, when the Neptunes had their run, those records sound like Neptunes records.
And that's because when they get in the studio, people say, hey, I want a record that's that. That's what people buy.
But I'm sure he's going to get inspired of new sounds and new approaches to making tracks. I mean, that's one of the things I really want to dive in deep with him about tomorrow. But I think that there is differences. I think even like you look at No Mediocre or Don't Panic, and even, the YG album doesn't necessarily have that Mustard party sound. You know what I mean? So I think there is diversity already in his sounds. And I just think it's hard to really pin him. I think obviously he's a producer that puts his signature, Mustard on the beat, ho. So it's his beat. But I think a lot of records that don't have that or something out there, obviously seem either inspired by him or, like Fancy and all those kind of records or records that you may not know he did have a hand in. So I just think that, you rarely see somebody who's been that much of a force to not only make great music, but make hit-making music. You know what I mean? Like, he's making records that are radio rotation. You come from radio. Like, records that program directors, salivate over. Like, he's making records that, like, deserve radio play. So it's going to be interesting to see that and also see him show his range, because like I said, YG is like, there's a certain element of more album tracks and more to have him really kind of sit with one artist, So I really want to get to know more of his process and see how, what he has planned in it. But I can see him going, a lot of guys like from Just Blaze, whoever, it's like, he's also a DJ, right?
Yeah.
So, as like, it gets to faster rhythms, it gets to a little bit of that EDM style, like, so
that's why his records work so well in the club, because that's where, he started off doing the house parties and stuff.
Yes. I want to get deep in that too. Like him and YG, like you guys know from out here, the local part of that and how he didn't want to be a producer. He was more like rocking a party, and a lot of his like, put your hands up. Like those were his like chants and like, the party culture. So being party culture, there's no limit to it. I mean, that's the thing when you're talented like yourself. Like if you're a DJ also, you could evolve to Las Vegas to whatever. It's like there's a lot of longevity there. So it's
a lot of money in the DJ world.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I think he's done a good job of balancing both. Like I know he did a campaign with Briss Bodega and he was DJing all these sets. He did a great set. I saw him in New York. So that's a part of his legacy right now and what he's really building.
That's killer. Then what's next for Crown, man? You're taking over with his stuff.
Well, we just actually this is the beginning of a new partnership we just did with Vitamin Water. So it's a 3-episode deal.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, brother. Trying to be like you, man. Trying to get them deals, man. Because we've been on hiatus a minute, getting the business back together.
Yep.
In the right direction. So I'm very excited about that. Shout out to the people at Vitamin Water. Shout out to people at Loud Electus, my production company.
That's great.
So the next two are lining up, trying to get that program going the next couple of months. I definitely don't want to have. It's been too much of a drought. Like I did Future back in the spring, so I want to have like month to month, and I want to finish the year strong. So hopefully I can knock
a couple
out
more,
knock out another
Christmas.
handful. I want another handful of crowns.
Ooh.
End this year off right. Obviously you got big records coming. Jeezy, Khalifa is out right now. Nicki Minaj.
What are you feeling? What are you listening to right now?
I'm excited about Jeezy. Jeezy's making the right moves. It's good to see like he's really building a solid momentum. I'm concerned now. They said he's got some kind of case right now with they found a gun and he may be.
Yeah, shout out to Jeezy. He was supposed to be up here. He was actually supposed to be up here today, but
okay, hold your head, Snowman. I know that's going to get worked out, but musically. I think he's in a good space. I'm excited about that. I just was listening to Ty Dolla $ign's mixtape just dropped. I was banging that with my friend Andre, who was banging in the whip. Like I was like, I feel good. I'm in the West Coast. A new Ty Dolla $ign mixtape just dropped.
Pushes in, going up. Right. Then you get the whole mustard. So it's all fam. Like it's a whole crew that came up together.
And I've always said I think YG holds the spot still right now as album of the year. I think Jeezy has a shot. I haven't heard the final Jeezy to take him out as number 1 album of the year, but West Coast is in a great space. There's a lot of great music coming out.
And by the way, you haven't even mentioned a man who's probably going to have the most anticipated album of the year. Somebody that you interviewed at South by, Kendrick.
I'm trying not to get too excited about Kendrick. Because I say Kendrick's like the most anticipated hip hop album I've seen in a very long time. So I mean, there's a lot on the line. I feel like him and Drake are gonna wait till 2015, like for real. But we'll see. I mean, if Kendrick comes forth, you probably know somebody. I don't know. Skee, you sneaky.
Come on, man. This is smart, you, man. I can't compete
Skee,
with you.
You trying
Elliott.
to tell me that we're getting a Kendrick Lamar album for Christmas? That what you trying to tell me?
Elliott, I can't compete with you. Come on, man. You know everything else. From what I've heard.
I've heard there's great music on Kendrick's album. I heard Meek Mill, another brother that's incarcerated, free Meek Mill.
What do you think about everybody getting all these rappers? I mean, there's such a big like anti-police state between hip hop, but obviously things going on in Ferguson. Yeah. What is going on in just the world in general, man?
I think 2014. That's a good point. I think the 2014 it's been a real tough year, man. In terms of 2013 we had all this music and everybody was out and it was like kind of a feel good and great energy. And we've had a tough year, 2014, with like all these personal tragedies and darkness, and like you said, incarcerated rappers and Ferguson, and like it's put a little bit of cloud on us, but we're resilient. We're going to carry forward. It's great to see the culture step up. Cats stepping up musically like T.I., Lauryn Hill, Cats stepping up like J. Cole to go to the scene, and Nelly and all those brothers, and
now, do you think
Killer Mike and them on CNN. It's important. I mean, we're hip hop, we're a voice, so I mean, we feel there's injustice. We need to speak up, and social media helps us galvanize and get that voice out there, and hopefully the officer will be held accountable, and we'll get to the bottom of what happened. Because it's unfortunate. R.I.P. to Mike Brown. I think they put him to rest today. So.
What can hip hop do too, and what can artists do? What's the power they do? Because a lot of times, some people use it as a press opportunity to come in and hype their own stuff up. But what can people really do? What advice? Because you've been in this business for so long. You're a journalist.
Yeah, I think if you trust your instincts and do it the right way, I think J. Cole. I spoke to him when he got back. I saw him back in New York the day he had got back from Ferguson, and he went down there. He a brother named Damian Scott works at Complex. A writer that I know very well. That's one more thing. That's a cool thing too. Like a lot of outlets now, those lines have been divided. Where it's like you're a hip hop publication, you're not covering this political or national story. And they had a lot of hip hop journalists, so-called hip hop journalists, and hip hop avenues that cover the culture out there in Ferguson. So it was great to see that. So Damian Scott having a great relationship with J. Cole, like they used to go to school together. He was telling him a little bit about it. Cole got inspired. Cole said, like, all 10 of my boys, 12 of my boys, whatever, you guys want to come down with me? I'll pay for your flights. I'll pay for the hotel. Let's go. And, they didn't go with a camera crew. You just talk to the people.
Yeah.
The people are going to take pictures of you.
Yeah,
they're going to film you. We're in social media, IG, whatever. You don't need to come down there with a camera crew. People are going to document that. So I just think it's really up to people to trust their heart. It's organic. And I think people can tell. Like, J. Cole went there and was really moved by what was going on and really talked to the people and jumped to the forefront of it as an example. Other people have done great things. It allows somebody like Killer Mike, who's been a great spokesperson for this culture for years, to have the outlet, David Banner, guys like that to have the outlet. So I just think it's just being organic and trusting your heart. And I think if your intentions are bright and pure, it's going to come across, man. We can spot a phony a mile away. That's so I think, and I think you're not going to rock with that. You're going to rock with the people that, coming from a genuine place. And I think that these tragedies and this darkness that we're kind of going through right now has affected all of us. But again, I think we're resilient people. Jeezy, Meek, all the situations I think are going to get resolved, and we're going to move forward.
Absolutely. Now, you touched on something too with journalists and journalism go down. I know we've kind of touched on it in the past, but what's your thoughts on like all these different blogs and how you at Rap Radar and with everything you do, you kind of have a name behind it, so you can't get something wrong versus some of these blogs that can post anything, they hear the instant it is and they just want to get the page views and stuff. Where's journalism going? Because it seems like there's obviously a lost art to it, but there's obviously a whole digital renaissance and revolution of it happening. What needs to happen? Because I could just start a blog and say so-and-so did this, and everywhere else is going to pick it up regardless of how true it is.
I think it gets exposed quicker, though, not because social media, because everyone's kind of out there, and now Twitter is one outlet. So I think it's a little harder to just spread fallacies, but I think the blogs that do that or the sites that do that are kind of known for that. So their traffic is kind of just based off that. But I think that what's happened now is that, I have Rap Radar as like this authority of culture, right? We've always stayed high to the principle that, we're going to give you the most important things going on in the culture. We're not going to post every rapper. We're going to post the major people that are really impacting culture. And we're not just going for traffic. We're going for the authenticity and impact and influence. So I have that outlet as sort of my background. But then at the same time, I'm on social media all day trying to make sense of things, trying to curate a timeline that really accurately reflects something. And if somebody else does something credible, give them credit. So I think those two experiences allow you to realize that you can trust me as the right curator, that I'm going to investigate things before I find out about it. Like, I think today I saw that YG had said free Jeezy. I didn't really know he was in car. He got locked up. I had heard some rumors, but it wasn't there. And then TMZ ran something and said he was on $1 million bail and more the specifics of the case. So then I put that in my timeline. Like, I didn't jump the gun. Even with like when things come out, we wait to make sure, like even the Shady compilation, right? Like the Shady 15. We're talking to Paul Rosenberg, but he's got a press release coming out, and there's all these fallacies spread about it, but I won't say anything until it's
How do you deal with that? Because like even with
I just fall back.
Jeezy's a good example. We had the info before, and I even searched Twitter. Nobody knew anything. They're like, keep it confidential. And it's like, all right, we respected that. We didn't say anything or put it out. I didn't even know it was out until you said it now. But how do you, because we get that information.
We take that L, Ski.
Exactly, right? But so many people would run
win
with that, right?
You take the momentary L for the bigger win. And I think that's what people like me and you who have built businesses and been in this business a long time and have these relationships with Snowman and these kind of artists, that's why they F with us, because we'll take that loss. Like, we're not going to get that surefire quick thing. So I think that's how I choose to carry myself. But it fits me because I'm a veteran already and I've been in this, and I have.
You got another thing coming. It's not like
I think that's short term. I think it's really about more insight into the information. Like, I think that people want to know really what's going to happen or how this affects things in the long term. I mean, that quick headline of the moment, it's fleeting. It's exciting for one moment, but you're not going to get massive success on the internet website and truly build a brand just off of having every new song first or every new headline.
Yeah, what made you even want to start a website too?
This is a new platform. XXL was a platform for me, and once we was at XXL, and it had moved in 2005 towards a little bit of the beginning of the web revolution in a sense. I was like, wow, we got to get active in that, because this is where the heads are at. The hip hop heads are moving.
That's what I'm doing with radio.
Exactly. So we should and it's still growing, because it's like what you're doing with Dash Radio doesn't exist. So that's what I'm saying. So it's just really adapting. And then after XXL being my platform for so long, I sat with Paul Rosenberg and we was like, your voice is missing from the culture. So let's build something to give you that outlet. And that it started with Rap Radar, and that really has been my foundation. You know, that's why even when I do Truth or Crown or anything else, it's Elliott Wilson for Rap Radar. People see me down the street and be like, if they don't know, Rap Radar.
Yeah.
You Rap Radar, right? You Rap Radar. So I still get that too. But social media has made it more that people know Elliott Wilson more, but at the end of the day, the foundation is still Rap Radar.
That's true. How many hours a day do you spend like retweeting and just liking comments and stuff? Because I mean, you're like the sort of just your Twitter West Coast, stuff, man, right?
You wake up like 6 a.m. here.
I'm like, holy,
and it's 9 a.m. in New York, and I'm like way behind. And
how do you even curate amongst all?
I hate it. It's hard, man. I know anyone that can get the job done.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Man. Nah, I just trust my instincts. Sometimes I'll fall back, but I think that my reputation is that I'm so active that when I do slack off a little, people don't notice it. Like I may not do something on IG for like a day or two, but nobody will notice it because when I do it, I do it so prolific, or I'm just so active with it. Like if I go to a live show, I'm going to put so many Instagram videos up. I just like to be impactful and cross that line at times. Like, this guy's just over the top with it, but it's my passion for the culture, and I think that I see a lane that nobody else does it like that, and it really fits what my mentality was. I'm fanatical, I'm the type of kid that wanted every record and tape every radio show and have every, like super fan of the culture, and that's really what I am still at the end of the day, But I still have integrity in terms of how I document and cover it, And sometimes I'm gonna have falling outs with people because of it, but at the end of the day, my love for the music and the culture, doesn't go away. So I'm really utilizing these facets of how to get our voices out. If it's Twitter, if it's IG, if it's Tumblr, if it's a website, I'm going to go all in.
That's true. Now, hip-hop trends, it's almost time to start talking about 2015. What are some of the predictions and trends that you expect to see over the next year? Any artists that you think are really going to break out that people aren't really talking about yet? Who's going to be the MVP?
I think people are getting better. Like, I think, like we said, Ty Dolla $ign, I think he's getting better. Like, I like to see artists that, like, I feel like he's in that zone now. So I'm excited to see what his next, like, studio album is going to be. I think that, like I said, unless you're wrong, unless you're right and I'm wrong, I think Kendrick 2015, I think Drake 2015. I wonder if J. Cole's going to be this year or next year. So I think you have still that new generation. Wale's working on his stuff. Like that new generation, the new legend kids, those kids are like, they've really risen on that level. Yeah. And then the veterans. So I think that's still exciting. But I like, cats like Young Thug have popped up, all these things. I don't know who's going to be next, but I just think that I like that see these artists evolve. And I think 2015, I think maybe was moving more towards being more similar to 2013 of a lot more releases coming out. I think this year has been less album releases, more so.
Everybody's getting locked up, man.
Yeah, man, it's messed up. But 2015, I think is going to have a good, more kind of just nonstop music release energy. I think this year's kind of been like a transitional year in a sense. But
what about New York?
There's still times to do it. But we got Bobby Shmurda now, hot nigga, man. We got him doing it. And I think there's still excitement. Troy Ave's still making a lot of noise. He's about to go on a tour and really touch the people. I still claim French Montana. I claim ASAP Rocky.
Even though French is out here now, French is in LA. He's got the LA crib with the Kardashians.
We gotta claim him though.
When French was doing the Coke Boys, putting out these DVDs, did you ever think
it's crazy, right?
He'd be in the Hollywood Hills with the Kardashians?
Like Riff Raff, Bone, and Katy Perry now. Like,
did you expect to see that at the VMAs? Yeah, let's talk about
guys. I don't
VMAs last night. What were your highlights of the show?
I was in the nosebleeds. Thank you, Viacom. They put me like in section 210, row 15.
What did you think? Anything that you heard behind the scenes or anything?
Nah, they had me with the civilians, man. They don't let me know where SKEE, man. They don't let me in there.
That's because they know you're gonna cause trouble.
I was just in there. Yeah, exactly. Don't let me. Like the thing about that, they don't want you they let you do red carpet, but they don't really want you watching the show. So I was like, I'd rather have a ticket to the show and kick it. No, I thought it was fun. I mean,
who had the best performance in your eyes up close?
Nicki was good. When she came out with Anaconda, that was good energy. She really kind of rocked the crowd.
So where's Nicki at in her career, in your opinion, right now? Because she's really gone back in a lot of ways to that old Nicki, the old mixtape. You don't see the huge, almost. I don't want to compare it to anybody else.
I was talking to G. Talking to Cortez. My bad. Talking to Cortez at the Drake Wayne show, and he's like, "I told Nicki, man, she's done, man. Give me the record. I'm ready to put it out tomorrow. Like she won't stop." And he told me like her best shit isn't even out yet. Wow. So it's like I'm excited to see what she's really going to come with. Now,
you just want to see another Anaconda video, huh?
Nah. I have mixed feelings about that. Like, obviously, I'm entertained by that, but like, I'd rather just hear great music. I'd rather her really seize that moment, in terms of, I think it's time. I think she's prepped this album pretty well. I'm ready for like the rollout and really know how it's going to go down with the record.
She's dope. She makes good records. Like people, regardless of whatever you say about all the others, like Great records.
But I think she needs a great album, and I hope that Pink Print is that, and I hope that, you know, she really tells kind of a beginning and end kind of story in whatever sense she does it. I mean, she can always deliver big records, crazy visuals. She has an incredible presence, but, you know, she's in the room, like she said, she's not defined by being a female rapper. Yeah. She's defined by being one of the best rappers in the business. You know, she's battling for that top spot. She's battling Drake. She's battling Wayne. She's battling Hova. She's battling for the top spot. So she needs that full body of work, and I'm anxious to see, like, I know she's fine-tuning it, you know, when she's going to really lay that out and what it's going to sound like.
Who has that top spot right now?
I told you this, man. Drake, the current thing, you know.
Still?
I think so. 0 to 100, man.
I agree. Drake just can put out any record he wants at any time.
No, but 0 to 100 is a hit record, and he gave that shit out for free.
And he has multiple, like, there's
crazy.
A lot more of that.
That's insane.
How does he?
I said, why you do that, man? He's like, I'm not like these other rappers, man. I'm not like those guys.
Right? I'm like, yo, give me one of those records. Let me put my name on it.
Those guys, man. You think I'm like those other guys? I'm not like those other guys.
Drake fought every odd against him to make it and put out just these incredible records. How long can he keep doing that?
I mean, guys are in their zone. He's in the zone. He's in the zone. I mean, it doesn't. We think it's always gonna last, but it doesn't. So we should just appreciate it when it does. True. Like, you know, like when an artist is in that zone, like let him go, man. Like go, man. Like, because it doesn't. You know, you lose the inspiration. It doesn't. You can't. It's like the hot hand. Ball can't keep going in. It's like sports. Like, you know, you get the guys like hitting 3-pointers and like give him the rock, man. Let him shoot, because it's like eventually the laws are going to balance up and he's going to start missing. But while he's hot, keep feeding the motherfucker the ball. So keep giving Drake beats. Keep that shit going.
He can't lose right now. It's crazy.
I mean, he's in that zone, you know.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Drake, you did this big interview with him. What was it? A couple years ago now on EVR. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the homie Pete over there. So, you know, right here on Dash Radio, we are bringing back a lot of those East Village radio elements with a station called Dash Brooklyn, right in the heart. You guys will see much more about it very soon. So my question, when are we going to get you back on the radio, man? Come on, what can we do? I know you're here, but you're in New York. Like, what are we doing, man? Do we need to call Peter, have him harass you? Like, how do we bring this magic and excitement back? He was telling me about that day, too, how like nobody knew it was happening, and then all of a sudden, like, Drake's in the window.
I didn't think he was really going to show up. Like, you don't say that, right?
How'd that come about, too? So for people that don't know, let's break down. East Village Radio is known as, like, the coolest radio station in
No, I'll break it down. So, like, I had met Peter Ferraro, back in the Source magazine days. He used to sell advertising like that.
He's been telling me some of those crazy stories.
He has all back then. Because I was still in New Jack. I wasn't getting on the big dog phone calls with Suge Knight and all that. Like, he was in the real deal. So we knew each other from way back. He told me about East Village Radio. I ran into him. I had heard about it because of Mark Ronson was doing the show. And he was like, look, you can play music. I was like, great. So I got real serious about it. I was doing it Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Yeah. I felt like it was a great time to do like the best in music that week, and, you know, really another outlet for me to interview artists. And I really enjoyed doing the show, man. And like what I would really do is like, I worked so hard on the internet all day. I really didn't have till like Thursday and even early Friday to kind of figure out, okay, what the fuck am I going to play today? Like, what's my show going to be? So a lot of times, like, I would get a lot of great interviews and hunt artists down through Twitter. But because it was Friday, I'd have to do a lot of phone interviews because a lot of times artists travel on Fridays because they're touring and they're doing club dates. So it'd be hard to get an in-studio guest. But I was like, look, that kind of gives it more fun. Like, I'm trying to hunt Trey the Truth down on the airplane, and he's about to board. He's literally calling you before the plane takes off.
Hey, I got whisper.
Elliott, I got to do the then the plane takes off. So, like, it gave this, like, live element I felt was fun, you know, because a lot of stuff is pre-taped now. But Drake, the same thing. I was on Twitter that morning, and Drake had tweeted something about being in New York because I guess he was performing at the Jordan Classic basketball thing. So I was like, oh shit, Drake's in town. I was like, yo, and I sent him an email like halfway joking, like, if you get bored, I'll be here in the East Village at First and First from 6 to 8. He's like, yeah, I'll come through. And I thought he was bullshitting me.
Like, all right, cool.
But then I followed up, and he's like, he hit me like in the middle of the day. He's like, yo, what's the address again? But like, all right, we're gonna make it happen. And I was like, and even still, I was like, till he shows up. Yeah. Plus, he has to show up on time, right? So 6 to 8 p.m.
It's live radio.
It's live radio. So I'm like, and, you know, like that's the thing where like Oliver's not really like making sure that's a priority. Like Drake,
you're like, all right, so you're like, so it's like 4. So the interview's at 3:00. Drake, I'll see you there at 3.
No, but the best shit. Okay, so he shows up.
He's actually on point.
Yeah, he shows up, and like I'm like, oh shit, Drake's here. But he comes with Oliver, and he got 2 guys with him, like I guess security or whatever. So like the thing in East Village is like you're literally like was a small little glass booth.
Yeah, it's bigger than this. It's smaller than this room that we're in. The whole facility.
So you get to see it, and you're like, he's never been there. So he goes in. Him and Oliver come in. They stay in there. The security guys stand outside, thinking it's going to be a rush of crowd of people, but no one really knew. He did it so on the low, like by the end, maybe 20 people came, but nobody knew he was there. We did it so smooth that got him in and out. And he gets there, and I'm like, okay, I thought he's just going to get on the mic, right, and like shout me out and just have fun with it, like give me a light like 5-minute interview, like, you know what I mean, like you gotta check my boy Elliott, I'm in town, all right, Drake, what you got going on, you know, what's the next single, blah blah, like a real light conversation. But he sit there, he's like, he put his hands across, and he's like, all right, I'm ready. So I was like, oh shit, he wants to be interviewed, like he really wants to talk, like, oh shit, like that. So I'm like scrambling, I'm like, what am I gonna talk to this more? I even on Twitter was like, yo, if you got questions, hit us on Twitter, like even that shit we were doing. And like it just flowed from that, like oh, he wants to talk, you know, and like he wanted at the time he wanted to talk about Chris Brown a little bit, and, you know, that's been resolved, so let's not dwell on that. But there were other things where I felt like a lot of things were being written at the time, and he really wanted to address what was going on in a very Drake classy way. The Weeknd stuff was big at that time,
and he knows that you're gonna that you being the person that you are.
And I was shocked because I didn't think he was ready to give me like a real full sit down. Like we did like 3 talk breaks, like an hour interview, like a real deal. So it was a really great thing, and people were ripping it while we were still doing it.
I remember it.
People
I was
were
watching
ripping
it.
on the internet.
I was.
But that was like surreal. Like my show wasn't hitting people's radar like that. So like to be doing the show. And I'm on the internet and they're bootlegging what we already did the first break while we're still doing the interview.
It's like the old school days.
It was old school days. I was like, wow. So yeah,
bringing the magic back to radio.
But that's what I try to do with my approach to radio. Like I just try to keep it real fun and like risky and edgy and like, you know, I just in the moment like right now I'm listening to Ty Dolla $ign in the car. If I had a show tonight, I gotta get Ty Dolla $ign on the phone like right now. Like instead of booking guests way in advance, like I try to be more organic with it. And just have more the excitement of trying to hunt somebody down, or, you know, if this is a record I like, have the freedom to play it 5 times in a row.
That's what we're trying to do. Because to me, the magic from radio, like you remember, like growing up, it used to be there, and it just somewhere like
you gotta
lost.
seize the moments. You know, like you've created moments with artists, and you gotta seize that. You know, you can't put everything in these boxes of like we're gonna play the current record, then we're gonna play a classic record, then we're gonna play a current record, then we're gonna play a classic record,
and then we're gonna have 30 minutes of commercials.
Horrible commercials too. The commercials are terrible.
Here's the thing:
it's like they're not even like good commercials. It's not like a fucking St. Ives commercial. It's like the worst shit ever. Like it's and the levels of the volume are like loud as fuck. Like it's a horrible listen.
Here's the
when
thing.
I'm in the car, I'm always like, yo, turn the shit off when the commercials come.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what we're trying to do up here. Because to me, look, the commercials don't make sense because we're like the ADD generation. We tune out when it does, and not only do they not work. You hate them.
They're not going to come back. Yeah.
You hate them. You're like,
see, those kids aren't going to come back.
That.
We would come back because we had less outlets.
We
had to come back.
There's no chance.
We was mad, but we come back. We come back to it.
That's why
they're not coming back. They're like, fuck that. I try to listen to you motherfuckers.
That's why we're
back
keeping
to my iPod playlist.
That's why we're keeping them here. We don't let them do it. Elliott Wilson.
Dash Radio. But I'm down to sum it up, man. Brooklyn, man. I'm back.
You're back.
I live in Brooklyn.
You back?
I live near the Barclays Center.
Back, dude. We got a story. I'll tell you off air about this place. You guys will see hear about it soon. It's gonna be
smart and you sneaky, man. You always got something going on, man.
It's you, man. Come on, I'm trying to learn from the best, man.
Yeah, man. I'll take a pay cut to be down with DJ SKEE.
Dude, we're
baby.
down.
Let's do it.
It's on. You heard it here first. Dash Radio. Every time you're out here.
Congrats, brother,
thank you
man.
so much. I appreciate it.
Dash
Thank you for the
Radio.
support as always, man. It's serious. The doors are wide.
Every time I'm in, I gotta come see you every time I'm in Cali, man.
Done. The conversations keep getting better and better. Elliott Wilson, Crown, DJ SKEE. We out of here.
Smart, SKEE. You smart.
Last time I saw you, I found out that you were a Ninja Turtles fan, dude. Yeah. And we brought out a Ninja Turtle on stage and a little joint with one. And now I see you on the Ninja Turtles soundtrack.
I could say y'all made that happen.
Did we make that happen?
I think so.
I mean, you guys have been, killing it. I mean, you look at Grinding My Whole Life records that have really caught on, like without even a major push or anything behind. How's it feel to see, the public really embracing it?
For me, that's the best part, straight up. Right. Just, knowing that we really got people listening to our music. Like, whatever the industry says, F that. You feel me?